What do amazing Japanese acupuncture and moxibustion therapists have in common? My name is Maya Suzuki, and in this video we're going to discuss the secret sauce to amazing practitioners from around the globe. Now, while watching this video, I highly suggest practicing your half-grain moxa practice on a piece of paper in front of you. If you're unsure on how to roll and place half-grain moxa, then you can check out this video linked up here or in the description box below on how to start your half-grain moxa practice. Now, if you're new to ShinKyu University, welcome, and if you're coming back, I'm so glad to have you here again and be learning with you. This channel is dedicated to helping practitioners just like yourself from around the globe become more in tune with their clients and bridge the gap from TCM book learning to practical application of Japanese acupuncture and moxibustion to get better results for your clients and become more confident with the skills and techniques that you are using. Before we get into the content, I would love for you to hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget that that little bell is going to help YouTube notify you of all future videos that I put out about Japanese acupuncture, moxibustion theory, and so much more. Now, for those who are returning to this channel, you know that I have been an apprentice and an assistant to Japanese acupuncturists for my entire career, and really even before I started acupuncture school. But for this video, rather than pulling on my own experience, I really would like to pull on amazing Japanese acupuncturists from around the globe, both those who are just getting into their practice and those who have been in the practice for 20 plus years. So without further ado, we're going to get into their suggestions. As well is that some people look at me and they're like, oh, you have all this experience. And I'm like, yeah, but when I started, I had no idea what I was doing.
Interactions with very senior teachers.
I was very fortunate in meeting a teacher early on.
Great teacher. He's a student of Johan Duvain. It's really amazing.
For my, I was an apprentice and then an acupuncturist for 10 years, and I'm still an apprentice to my teacher.
I've begun studying Japanese acupuncture in Rio with my sensei, Akasio Suzuki, who is super knowledgeable, knows just about everybody. He knows the gossips about all the Japanese masters and stuff. And I've begun to learn with him in 2006, so it's been 15 years.
This is my master teacher in Kobe. I asked her to please let me study with her, and she said okay. So I started working with her, and she told me one day, do this, do that, and so show me how to do this her style acupuncture.
Like every time I go to watch, I'm like, okay, why are they doing this specific point with this specific technique, and how are they holding their hands, and what kind of, can I channel the key that they're channeling? Can I even feel what they're feeling so that I can remember it and then I can replicate it?
When you study on a master class, and you see what he's doing, and then you take it and you put it in the same structural problem that you saw in the clinic, but the next time it won't be the same. It will be a little different. And over the years, you're starting to have your own jazz lines, In
essence, that's what apprenticeship is.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that we're missing in acupuncture outside of Japan, is that we don't have that apprenticeship program in place. And so it's really hard to really fundamentally learn a foundation and then learn those riffs from your teacher, because you don't get to see them frequently enough to do it. So by this point, I'm sure you've probably got the point that the key element to becoming an amazing practitioner is to get a mentor. And that's coming from the mouths of practitioners who have more 30 years of experience, all the way down to those who are just starting their practice. Having a mentor and really following in that mentor's footsteps and learning from them is the quickest and safest and most assured path to becoming an amazing practitioner. So let's talk about the key elements in what to look for in a mentor, how to convince that practitioner to take you on as a student, and how to be a good student. We have a lot to cover, people, so let's get started. So let's talk about the key elements of what to look for in a mentor. So when I was still an assistant, before I was even in acupuncture school, I was working at Akira Acupuncture Clinic in Shibuya in Tokyo, and I went to every single practitioner that worked in this clinic, which I think at the time was maybe 10 or 12. And I asked them all the same question. I had just been accepted into acupuncture school. I'd been working in this clinic for almost a year at this point, and I asked them all, I'm about to enter into school. What is your advice for me to really succeed in acupuncture school? And I got a variety of advices, but everyone told me the same thing. They told me that before you graduate acupuncture school, we want you to find a mentor. Find a group that you want to study within, because in Japanese acupuncture, there are a variety of styles. So find a style that you really love, and then find a teacher within that style that you really want to study with. And in particular, the director of the clinic, Dr. Taiken Jo, who owns and operates Acura Acupuncture Clinic, an amazing man, he told me these 3 factors that I think actually his dad might have told him. I can't remember where he learned it from. But he said, number 1, you want to make sure that when you walk into your possible mentor's clinic, that they have a really busy clinic. You want to make sure that they are a good business person. The reason for this is because you're going to be learning from the back of your mentor. Now, that's a Japanese saying that says children learn from the backs of their parents. Oya no senaka o mite sodatsu is the whole phrase. And really, it's quite true. So you want to make sure that your mentor has a really successful clinic, because you're going to be learning how to be a business person from your mentor. So, and also what that tells you is that they're very successful in their clinic, right? If they're not being successful at getting results for their client, they wouldn't have a busy clinic. So it's really important that, number 1, that they have a really busy clinic. Now, number 2 thing that you're going to look for is you're going to get at least 3 treatments as a patient from this possible mentor. Now, you don't have to tell this possible mentor that you're looking for a possible mentor. You can just sign up for treatment. Now, within these 3 treatments, again, you're going to look for 2 things, really. 1, you're going to look for if the treatment actually works for you, and 2, if you actually enjoy that treatment, right, as you're receiving it. Because there are a lot of treatment therapy types that are super effective, but are quite painful to receive, or you just don't enjoy receiving. I know I love receiving facial acupuncture because I look great afterwards, but I don't really enjoy receiving facial acupuncture because it always makes me super dizzy. So make sure that it's really going to work for you, right, within 3 treatments, that you're actually seeing results and that you enjoy receiving it. Because if you're going to be learning from this person their entire style, you want to make sure it's a style that actually works for people, right? Now, the third thing that you're going to be really looking for in this mentor, right, 1, they have a busy clinic, 2, that their style actually works for you and you enjoy it, and the third is that when you kind of research about the style that they practice, that it's very exciting to you, that you want to learn more and you want to continue studying, you know, because there are styles that you're like, wow, they have a great clinic, it actually works, but I'm just not super interested in it, you know. It's just a thing, like, you know, I like Skittles or I like M&Ms, or you know what, I don't like either, I like pure chocolate. I'm a pure chocolate person. You know, so you have to make sure that you have that excitement in there, because if you don't have that, you're not going to have longevity with that mentor, right? And you're not going to be learning skills that are going to really help you to develop a good practice. The second thing that we really have to discuss, right, is how you're going to convince this amazing practitioner to take you on as a mentee, to take you on as an apprentice, right? And that is a huge hurdle, because a lot of acupuncturists do not feel that they are either qualified to teach, or they don't feel like they want to teach, right? So you have to convince this practitioner to take you on. So the first thing that you're going to do is really research about them. Do your research, understand who they are as an individual. I highly suggest going and observing in their clinic several times, and, you know, trying to make yourself indispensable. So some of the ways that I used to do that was I would arrive early into the clinic and I would clean the whole clinic for them as they were getting set up. I would definitely flip the rooms in between patients. I would hand them tools as I was observing, very silently, as to not get in the way, but and also to assist them to make their treatment more seamless. Take notes for them. Make sure that you're a fly on the wall, you're not really getting in the way, but you're super attentive to what they're learning. You know, you can take some side notes on treatment styles, ask questions when they have a moment, if they're willing to answer them. Some Japanese style practitioners who are from Japan in particular want you to really learn with your eyes. So sometimes they won't answer questions, they want you to figure it out. But you just really show yourself up. Show up, be there, and be ready to learn, right? And make yourself indispensable. And of course, the other thing that you really have to do, especially from a Japanese practitioner, someone who is from Japan, is you have to empty your cup. Now, I'm sure you're all familiar with this proverb, empty your cup. And to really summarize this Zen proverb, there was a student who comes to a teacher And every time the teacher goes, he'll ask a question to his teacher and the teacher will go to answer. And when he answers, immediately the student is just saying, but this, but this, but this, but this. So he has all of these preconceived notions, and instead of just emptying his cup and being there to receive the teacher's knowledge. It's a beautiful proverb. There's a lot of different forms and reiterations of it, but I highly suggest if you don't know of it, do a quick Google search. It'll pop up for you. But really, emptying your cup is huge for the Japanese as a population, as a society. They do not like know-it-alls. So if you're going to study, especially from a Japanese person, really show up and be like, well, I have all of this information that I'm trying to access. Is it possible that you're pulling from this information? If not, okay, what else can I learn to understand what you're saying? So you just really, really be there. Yeah, and so the third thing that we need to discuss, right, is how you can be a good student. Now, being a good student changes slightly depending on the culture you're in. But I'm going to talk to you from the culture in which I learned Japanese acupuncture in, which is in Japan. Although I am American and didn't originally have this idea of how to study, I definitely learned it while I was in Japan, and I do think it's a beautiful system. It's really clear-cut and really easy to understand, and that is the system of Shu, Ha, and Ri. Now, Shu is a very specific stage in your learning. When you are in the stage of Shu, you need to absorb everything that your teacher says, as I said, with an empty cup, right? You don't want to have any preconceived notions. Really, they don't even want you to question what your teacher is saying. You just absorb. You take what they say as gold, as 100% standard, as definite truth, and you just do as they say. Now, each stage usually takes between 10 and 20 years to graduate from, so just keep that in mind. This is not a 1 week or 2 week deal. So the stage of Shu is just complete absorption. You wipe your slate clean, and you just absorb what your teacher is saying, and you take that as the gold standard. And then once you get to the stage of Ha, the stage of Ha literally means the stage of separation. And in the stage of separation, you're going to start questioning the teachings that you have been given. And so, for example, if your teacher says, oh, for, I don't know, GI tract issues, you're always going to needle stomach 25 and stomach 36. Okay, fine. Pretty standard, yeah? But now you're going to start playing with that and saying, okay, well, what about for colitis? What about UC, right? What about for this? What about for that? What about in this situation? And you keep testing the theory and saying, okay, why didn't it work in this situation? Why did it work in this situation? Am I applying it incorrectly, or is this just the wrong situation for what the knowledge that they gave you? So you really start to test. You become very much of a scientist. All right, and so in the last stage of Ri, literally means to move away or to throw away. And in this station, you get to throw the book out, you get to have a party, and you get to start to really create. And this is a stage you've already taken all of your teacher's learnings, you've tested and experimented with it, you've asked the right questions, and now in Ri, you get to make your own symphony. You are the conductor, you are able to choose your course of action. And so this is where you really move away from your teacher and you start to create your own style of art. Now, I know that sounds like a really long process for many of us who live in the West. But what I do love about this process is it's very methodical, and it'll take you from one stage to the next in a very sequential manner and in a way that allows you to think through questions, get the right answers for questions, experiment, and then finally to create your own artwork. Now, do you want to find a mentor? Let me know in the comments below. I'm so curious about how many of you who are watching this really want to become a mentee and follow these stages that I'm talking about. Almost every single acupuncturist I have ever known has been an apprentice to another amazing acupuncturist at some point in their career. Mentorship truly is the fast track to becoming confident and competent in your technique and skill and application with your clients. It takes you truly from just book knowledge and learning the acupuncture points in school to actually knowing how to apply that knowledge and being able to be versatile with that knowledge with your client and get better results. Another thing to remember is that even acupuncturists who go to school in Japan for 3 years at their school, in their school system, graduate and then become an apprentice to another amazing acupuncturist for several years of their career. Mentorship is the fast track to greatness. Believe me on this one. Now, if you're interested in mentorship, please click on the link in the description box below to set up your interview and start your learning with ShinKyu University now. I would absolutely love to have you. Speaking of love, I would absolutely love it if you would hit the like, subscribe, and the little bell button to be notified of future videos so you can learn more about Japanese acupuncture and moxibustion. And if you want to learn how mentorship made Erlen Truitt an amazing acupuncturist, please do watch this video next. Thanks for watching and keep practicing.